Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, December 29th, 2024. So Adam is moving into the old new ranch. Yay! I like it. I like this deal. And Adam and Victor sealed the deal with a fist bump. That's how you know it's for real, the fist bump. I think that was like the most remarkable moment of the week, that fist bump. It was the fist bump heard round the world. It was the most loving fist bump that Adam and Victor have ever shared. I was all about it. So, since Adam is going to inherit the horsey room, naturally he is going to need somebody to ride in there. But Chelsea won't put on the saddle. She is being stubborn. Someone give her a carrot or something. I kind of like that Chelsea's putting up the resistance and Adam's saying, why resist? Why resist anymore? But I think Chelsea is just too busy these days trying to get Connor to wear that silly scarf. Oh my goodness, was it really that silly? I feel like I have to question my own sensibility now because I thought it was cute. But again, that's exactly the point. What mom thinks is cute is not necessarily what teen boy thinks is cute. I honestly think it's amazing that Connor is so tolerant and that he wants to be around his parents at all. He's a very well-behaved boy, that Connor. I was around some teens and preteens this Christmas, and they didn't want to have anything to do with the adults. So I'm impressed that Connor was willing to participate with the family and make eye contact and be present. Honestly, all of the teens that I witnessed this Christmas didn't want to have anything to do with anyone except their phones. Their phones were in their face the entire time. I'm honestly amazed at this point when I find a young person who doesn't have a phone in their face. That is such an old lady thing to say. Oh no. Oh no, I've crossed over. I'm going to start sentences from now on with kids these days. Kids these days need to spend more time on horses and less time on their cell phones. I don't know. What do you guys think about Adam's offer? Do you think that Chelsea should accept it? Do you think that Chelsea should move in with Adam right now? Go to yrchat.com. That's our poll question for this week. Should she move in right now, today? Or do you think she needs to, have some time maybe to think about it? Maybe date a little first. Maybe do some dating before the moving in thing. But hey, when you've already been married, and you know what you want, why bother? I don't know. I vote yes. I think I vote yes. I want Chelsea to move into the ranch. But it's, my vote is also because I want the drama. And I think that Adam and Chelsea living together at the ranch means more drama. Because, hey, if Adam is living at the ranch, then that means he is closer to all of the action. I feel like Y&R is definitely hearing what we've said about shifting the action away from always being at the office. We spent the last couple of years where it was just all about the corporate drama, and I love it when it's in its place, but it became a little too much. Now we're getting back into the homes. We're bringing the drama into the homes again. And if Adam lives at the ranch, he's closer to the drama. Because if Adam lives at the ranch, he's closer to Sharon. And I think there's lots of potential there. And most importantly, though, I think that if Adam is living at the ranch, then that makes him closer to Nikki. And maybe 2025 will be the year that Y&R finally latches on to my idea and gives Nikki an unexpected crush on Adam. Yeah. I think maybe one day Nikki is ready to, go tend the horses. She walks out into the barn. She sees a shirtless man baling hay. The man comes up to wipe away the sweat from his brow while Nikki is admiring the hot bod. And then the man turns around and oopsie, it's Adam. And now she can't stop thinking about it. I mean, man, that would blow viewers' minds. And Nikki did tell Lauren this week that she is learning to tolerate Adam. And everyone knows tolerating someone is only about 2 steps away from lusting after them. Victoria was notably absent from the Christmas show this year. Where the heck was she? Does anybody know? I mean, they said that the character was homesick and bad, but was the same thing true for Amelia? Was she not feeling well, or is she just away on vacation? I'm not sure, but it didn't feel right having Claire and Cole there without Victoria. And in the previews for next week, it seems like Victoria is absent again for New Year's. Oh well. I think Claire did her best to fill that space. I mean, the family portrait that she had commissioned was outstanding. What a great idea. What do you get for the person who has absolutely everything? An oil portrait. An oil portrait is always a crowd pleaser. Who doesn't want one? Victor probably just threw it in the pile with all of his other oil portraits. They're not hung. There's just a pile of oil portraits somewhere in the back room of the ranch. Oh. And the artist was able to Photoshop Cole into the picture. So that was something special. I think that was a really good rite of passage for Cole as he enters into the Newman family right alongside Claire to be included in the oil portrait. I really loved how Victor and Cole came to a handshake understanding in the sunroom over Christmas. It was not sunny in the sunroom, though, because it was nighttime. So I think maybe if the scene is taking place during the day, I will call it the sunroom. But if the scene is taking place at night, then I will call it the moonroom. I like that. It feels fluid. The moon room. So Victor finally conceded that Cole is a good guy. He's therefore good enough for Victoria. And so he also decides to offer Cole a job. A job as, I guess, head of publishing for Newman Media. I think that's really great. I love this. It speaks well for Cole's future. I think it would be really fun if we could get to see Cole working with Adam. I mean, those guys are completely opposite, so they could have a very interesting dynamic. I'd really like to see Adam and Cole interacting at Newman Media. Maybe Cole can even become a roving reporter for Genoa City, or, I would love to get a sense of what Cole's doing in the publishing business. That could be something fun, and he can work from home to do it. Wow, this is very good. Cole became a bona fide Newman in 2024. Who would have known? Cole is as bona fide as the pony that Victor bought for Claire. Now, I am sure that Claire is going to be a great pony mom. You know, she's very loving, she's very attentive, she's good with kids, I'm sure she's good with animals. But I mean, I will say, I feel like the pony, although it was a nice gift and a nice moment, and there was lots of tenderness around that, and I'm glad Claire is feeling happy and accepted into the family, the pony thing kind of didn't work to increase her approval rating with me. I don't know, like I kind of feel like the pony thing is just further pigeonholing Claire into this childlike role. You know, I mean, a pony for Christmas is such a rich girl trope, and maybe that's what it's meant to be, but now that Claire is pursuing a relationship with Kyle, sleeping with Kyle, really getting started on her career, I want to see Claire being painted more as an adult woman. And the pony for Christmas thing just sort of made her seem more like a child. And I don't know, did Johnny and Katie and Christian all get ponies for Christmas too, or do they already have ponies, or I don't know. Is Claire simply Victor's shiny new tool? I mean, shiny new toy. I mean, I think Claire needs to be very careful when she is accepting all of this Newman affection, because at the end of the day, it comes with a price. The pony has a price, and that price is Claire's expected loyalty the next time that Victor tries to do something or successfully does something to screw over her new boyfriend's family. Jack has been waxing holiday sentimentality for the past 2 weeks, and I have to say, Peter Bergman has been delivering it beautifully. I've really felt connected to Jack and all of the warmth in the Abbott house over the last couple of weeks since we've had, you know, the Christmas, since the Christmas has begun. And, you know, as you get older and the holidays come around and people gather together, you can't help thinking about the people who aren't there with you anymore. And I really appreciated Jack expressing regret over not having more time to spend with Dina. He said something like, I knew that time wasn't infinite, and yet I didn't do everything that I could have done, and I regret that. And that resonated really strongly with me, because we all know logically that we only have a limited amount of time, and yet we can't help but be distracted by the grind of the daily lives and our tasks and our things that we're, you know, very focused on. But that being said, and you know, everything kind of in the rearview mirror Christmas-wise now, I feel like the comparison between Jack's abandonment by his mother Dina and Kyle's abandonment by his mother Diane, I realized this week that I feel like the difference between the two is that Jack, well, he really did embrace Dina a lot faster than Kyle is re-embracing Diane. I mean, my memory could definitely be skewed by the fact that time has passed and now we've lost Dina and all of that. But I feel like I remember that Jack always wanted Dina. He was always kind of willing to embrace Dina if she would have him. And the second she said, I'll have you, I feel like Jack was able to put his resentment at least into the background, and he did try to embrace her. You know, I certainly feel like Jack was more willing to bring Dina back into his life more than Ashley was. But a quick side note on Ashley, how nice of her to let Diane sit at the same table with her and Tracy at society on Christmas Eve. And Ashley even said she was going to try to tolerate Diane for the holidays. She said, I'll try, but then we'll just wait and see what happens after that. Wow. Diane was like, Ashley, I think it's really brave of you that you were able to get help and that you're feeling really secure about it and there's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, Diane was so magnanimous, and Ashley was like, I'll try to tolerate you. How generous of her. Diane is persona non grata, no doubt about it. Diane is paying the price for the charade that she and Jack were playing with the family. In fact, I think that Diane is paying the price for both of them, really. Jack is not getting the same amount of blowback over it all as Diane is. And in the end, when it comes to Kyle, I think Kyle is right to be wary. If my mother had let me think that she was dead for a decade while living and working in another city, it would take me some time to get over that too. And I'm not sure I really would want her back in my life. It's just that in terms of the show, I'm getting kind of tired of it. I can't help myself. Maybe we've seen the end of it, because this week Diane spilled her guts out to Kyle, conveniently busting out handwritten diary entries from Christmases past and wrapping them up to Kyle and giving them as a gift, giving the gift of her innermost thoughts, giving the gift of insight into her frame of mind during this period that is in question. And one of the letters, the very first one actually, was addressed to Kyle. So there's the sacrifice that we were waiting for. Diane pouring her heart out, being most intimate. Diane, her Christmas present to Kyle was, I'm going to get my crap out of your office finally. I don't care if you have to take the stuff to storage. Getting my crap out of the co-CEO office. And then she also gave Kyle the co-CEO nameplate. And then she also essentially gave Kyle a thimbleful of tears. That was her Christmas gift. Here is a thimbleful of my tears. And Kyle was like, yeah, I'll look at these letters later. He literally said, I'm not going to look at them now, but thank you. Dang. I get it. I just, in terms of the show, I think I'm ready to move on. And speaking of tears, by the way, this Christmas, Jack gifted Diane a necklace made from the infamous teardrop of love. Wow. I mean, I love a jewelry gift. I loved the moment between them. I love that she tried to say no and he said yes. And that moment was great. But I will say, the teardrop of love, are we really sure that we want to be reminded of this? Because my memories of the teardrop of love are not happy. I'm pretty sure that Jack had to chase those jewels down all the way to the end of the rainbow, and I don't think they turned out to be a lucky charm for him. Somewhere, just slightly off screen, Ian and Jordan are cooking up a master plan right now to frame Phyllis for whatever it is that they are about to do to Sharon. And you know who's gonna end up right in the middle of this whole mess? Daniel. I just really feel for Daniel this week. This poor guy just wants to grieve. He just wants to help himself and his daughter settle into this new reality where Heather is gone from. And every time he turns around, there's some new development. First, Sharon confessed. She straight up said she was guilty. Then she finds out that somebody spiked her meds. And now she's claiming that there was a second shooter on the grassy knoll, and Chance is reopening the case. And next up, Phyllis is gonna look guilty for coming after Sharon. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And Summer, literally the day after Chance and Summer got back together, or at least they were kind of building a bridge toward getting back together, Chance is now going to be put back into the position of investigating Summer's mom. Sigh. I feel for him. I feel for Daniel. I feel like Daniel's in the worst position because he is going to want to believe his mother's innocence, but he's, also not going to want to give Sharon any credit, but he's also going to know how much Phyllis hates Sharon right now, and he's also going to know how capable of anything his mother is. It's a very fun twist. I think the fact that Ian and Jordan are planning to frame Phyllis for something happening to Sharon is a really fun twist. And I have to say, I'm enjoying all of it even more watching it on the backdrop of the villainous romance. Ian and Jordan are all revved up about how much fun they're going to be having framing Phyllis. And Phyllis has set herself up to look guilty. She's been stating publicly that she wants justice. She was mouthing off to Billy this week about Sharon, and she was confronting Sharon in front of her whole family on Christmas Eve. Call me crazy, but I am actually kind of proud of Sharon for standing up to Phyllis. And I'm not saying that Sharon's right and Phyllis was wrong. It was just kind of nice to see Sharon standing up for herself instead of curling into a ball. I mean, Sharon had the whole craziness going on, and then immediately when she snapped out of it, she's just been in a ball for weeks now, and it was nice to see her doing something different. She's reclaiming her life. She's reclaiming her happiness, and she's really trying to reclaim her family too. Now that she is convinced that the gloved hand is the murderer, Sharon is feeling free. She is free to enjoy the holidays, to put a smile on that face, and to hang some stockings over the fireplace. Did you notice that Nick and Sharon had side-by-side stockings over the fireplace, both embroidered with their names on them? It was such a mom and dad moment. Plus, I mean, there were lots of hugs between she and Nick, with memories of Cassie just washing over them. Oh yeah, there's a reunion in the mix here. Nick was completely defensive of Sharon when Phyllis pushed her way through the door. She had just come from trying to lay a guilt trip on Michael and Lauren, in which Lauren blurted out, "There's more that happened that night with Heather than you even know about." That was kind of inappropriate. And then, since Michael and Lauren weren't going to give Phyllis the details of the case, Phyllis marched right over to Sharon's house on Christmas Eve to get the answers straight from the horse's mouth. And of course, Sharon wasn't going to reveal any of the details of her case. She simply stood her ground. She was proclaiming her innocence the whole way. It was actually Faith who couldn't be berated by Phyllis any longer, couldn't let her mother be berated by Phyllis any longer, and it was Faith who shouted out, "My mother didn't kill Heather. There was someone else in the apartment that night." Phyllis was livid. To Phyllis, this is just another fabrication of Sharon's twisted mind. And why wouldn't Phyllis think that? I mean, if we are supposed to not believe that Sharon, she confessed to being guilty, and then suddenly she says, "No, I'm not." Why do we believe her when she says she's innocent? It doesn't make any sense. If we can't believe the confession of guilt, we can't believe the confession of innocence either. But once again, Phyllis is left in a position where she is isolated, which makes her look more desperate, by the way, because she's the only one now who is firm in pointing the finger at Sharon, while everyone else is trying to move on, and while Sharon's family is like singing Christmas carols. Man, those Christmas carols were over the top. I think Sharon's family was delirious or drunk. But it was fun, and it was silly, and we got to hear Tessa give a living room concert, and it was nice to see Sharon's house go from barren to decked. I mean, even if it is on Christmas Eve, it doesn't matter. The thought was there. Let's make this Christmas. I mean, it's a new day for Sharon Newman, and next week it's going to be a new year too. She is innocent of Heather's murder, and let's just forget about all the horrible stuff that she did to cover it up when she thought she was guilty. Let's try to stay on the nice list, shall we? Who said that this week? I thought that was a fun quote. Let's try to stay on the nice list, shall we? If you think you know who said it, you can go to yrchat.com to reveal the answer. I am sure that all of us were on the nice list this year. I still think Sharon belongs on the naughty list. I really love how Stephen put this. The real killer in the room may have done in Heather, but Sharon carted away the body, pretended to mourn at the funeral, and then framed Daniel in order to escape justice. Yes, Stephen, thank you for boiling it down in that perfect essence. Sharon may be innocent of the murder, but she is still guilty as hell of all the things she did to cover it up when she thought she was guilty. Good comment. Tony says, where is Noah? Does he know about Sharon's situation? Good question, because I'm sure we all saw Noah's stocking hanging on the fireplace this week, and I'm sure we were all thinking, is he going to come through that door as a Christmas miracle? No, he did not. I do remember someone mentioning that Noah had been informed of everything that had been going on with Sharon when she was considered guilty, when she thought she was guilty, but I'm not sure if anyone has updated him on the latest news. Naomi says, wow, Phyllis mentioned Dylan when listing Sharon's affiliations with the GCPD. Is there a possibility he may be brought back to life? Yeah, with Sharon and Ian Ward in the mix, now would be a really good time to bring back Dylan. But I did really appreciate that line by Phyllis too, because yeah, Sharon had Chance and Ray and Dylan. She's got like a cop thing going on, and I thought that was very smart writing that Phyllis mentioned that. Hey, here's a really good comment from Daisy, who says, I wish that Sharon's storyline would take a different turn. Just because Sharon now remembers a hand on her shoulder doesn't mean that that person killed Heather, even though we know who really killed Heather. A hand on Sharon's shoulder doesn't show anyone else did this. There's nothing in Sharon's new memory that exonerates her, particularly since she behaved as if she were guilty from the beginning. Sharon woke up, saw Heather unconscious, and rather than call the paramedics, she rolled her up in a rug and threw her in the river. Heather may have been alive and died as a result of Sharon's actions. I don't remember what the coroner said, but Sharon's actions don't show her as innocent. Also, if hypnosis were admissible in court, then it would be done all the time. The court could say that Sharon lied to get away with murder, and I would think the chain of custody for the medication Nick found would also be inadmissible, as Nick has no proof that he wasn't trying to help Sharon go free. I mean, even though we know Nick did not plant false evidence, the court would say otherwise. Nick should have contacted Chance and gone with him and a forensic team to recover the medication bottle. I just have to pause there because Daisy, I mean, this is so correct on every single point. And especially the point that Sharon may not have murdered Heather, but I mean, what if Heather was still alive when Sharon came through? What if she was still a little bit alive? Would calling the paramedics have saved her life instead of Sharon shoving her into a rug and dragging her down the staircase? If maybe she didn't kill her, but she certainly didn't do anything to resuscitate her. Daisy goes on. In any event, I would love to see Daniel get a lawyer for his family. Amanda comes to mind. I wish she'd return to help them. And then they can pursue legal action against the things that Sharon cannot claim was a hand on her shoulder, like breaking into Daniel's home twice, planting evidence against Daniel, breaking into Phyllis's hotel room, throwing Heather in the river, cleaning up a crime scene, and so on. I would also love to see Nick hire a detective to investigate what happened, someone who could speak in court as a witness. Maybe then that person would be able to piece together everything, including Ian helping Jordan break out of prison, and especially before Phyllis lands herself in prison for trying to kill Sharon. You know what, Daisy, that's another good point too. I mean, the inadmissible evidence about the hypnosis and the medication, and now Nick has claimed at the end of Thursday's show that he's gonna investigate. Like, Nick has declared that he's gonna piece this together. So clearly Nick's on the hunt for Ian and Jordan, although he doesn't know it yet, but he's gonna get this. You're right. I mean, in reality, wouldn't he want to hire a private investigator, a third party, someone who it couldn't be accused of being biased, not someone who's not one of Sharon's ex-husbands? There's so much about this story that is beyond reality, and you almost just have to like throw it out. It's so outlandish. There's so many holes in Sharon's case, and at the end of the day, we all know she's gonna get off scot-free. She's gonna have to do some inpatient therapy or something or other, and she's gonna be back on her feet. There's gonna be no real consequence to what she did other than the consequence that she bears in her own mind. Well, Russell says, to answer Michael's question, when has Phyllis ever taken a pause? Only when she was in a coma. You remember the one that resulted from Sharon pushing her down the stairs? I think it was an accident during a tussle, but still. That was funny. When has Phyllis ever taken a pause? You're right. In a coma. That was when it was. Steven says, I was hopeful that the confrontation with Phyllis would have been a bit more intense. The three women looking at each other showed awkwardness, but no tension. The singing of Silent Night, a hymn composed and first sung at midnight mass a short distance from where my parents were born, landed with a thud for me. This storyline calls for more than Loopy Phyllis versus the world. Yes, Stephen, and you have got some really great ideas. You really should be a writer. Sometimes I think Y&R really should go mining through our comments for storyline ideas. Ron says, Phyllis should take a second to think about the safety of her son and granddaughter instead of doubling down on her "I was right and nobody listens to me" tour. A killer is roaming around and targeted her family. Stop yelling in public places and showing up where you aren't invited, and protect your family. Yeah, Phyllis has no idea what she's in store for, and she's about to get it. Russell says, Ian and Phyllis in the woods eating trout? What in the world? Yes, it was a bit of a surprise when Ian revealed that he had a connection to Phyllis, and it was extra funny when Jordan got a little jealous over it. Well, I did a little bit of research. I sort of vaguely remember this, but Phyllis at one point ran into Ian Ward, who was in the woods. Phyllis was at the Abbott cabin, and Ian Ward was off in the woods. Phyllis went out for a walk one day, and she saw him, befriended him. She knew him under another alias, Fred the Fisherman. Ian's got a couple of different aliases. At this point, he was just Fred, a fisherman who's out in the woods sometimes. So Ian was planning revenge, doing the revenge against Adam and the Newmans and Victor. And when that all went bad, he ended up kidnapping Nikki, taking her to the Abbott cabin where Phyllis also was. And Nikki and Phyllis both got tied up by Ian Ward and held as hostages until Victor paid him off. But snap, Victor Newman is always 2 steps ahead. And Victor was able to get a leg up on Ian. The cops arrived, and the ladies were rescued, and Ian Ward was carted off to prison, and he stayed there until now. Victoria says, wouldn't it have been fun to see Christmas morning with Ian and Jordan? I envision a rousing game of poker using their coal as chips. I'm sure with all the villainry they've done, they've amassed a great amount of coal in their stockings this year. That would be fun. It's just Ian and Jordan, I can't take it too seriously, and I'm enjoying just the ability to have a laugh with it. They're having fun with it, and that's what's making me have fun with it. I don't need it to be too real. I like your idea. Naomi says, Lauren says that Nikki is waiting for the other shoe to drop, and so am I. Claire's life is just too perfect. Victor is asking Chelsea to be part of the family. Nikki is considering being nice to Adam. Cole and Victoria are happy. I just don't want any of the characters to meet a tragic fate right now. Ian needs to go away and take Aunt Jordan with him. Ooh, yeah, I know everybody's life is so perfect right now. Something's gonna come to blow that up. Well, speaking of perfect, last week I asked you guys to do a vote on Claire's approval rating, and 62% of you do approve of Claire. Just 38% disapproving of where the character is right now. Sue W says, I love the character as portrayed by the engaging actress. I see Goody Claire more as someone who's had her life turned upside down in good fortune and is making constant, conscious decisions to take the right path. I see her as cautious, making carefully measured opinions and choices on a daily basis, all in exaggerated and often unbelievably in a sweet way, of course, because it's a soap. But I generally find Claire quite refreshing when compared to the many quick-to-go ballistic women of Genoa City. 2W, that's the best point in Claire's favor. There are a lot of women who are quick to go ballistic. We have a lot of feisty chicks on the show right now. Claire is more, she is, as you're saying, more calm, measured, careful, because she's seen that darker side. She's making good decisions. She is, she is happy. And in that way, she is different from the other women on the show. And in that way, she is unique. And in that way, you know, looking at it from that perspective of, you know, her just kind of filling a different role, you know, that turns me around here. And Kamna says, I approve of Claire because I do think they've been giving her dimension and the actress is doing a good job. I'd actually like to see her take a sharp turn to save her family from Aunt Jordan. She may have more pent-up anger inside than she realizes, and all the training and deception and ruthlessness while she got growing up might be used against Aunt Jordan. You know, that's a really good idea. Oh, I have to say, first of all, I do really like the actress. She's totally nailing it. And I think it would really be good for the character if she were the one to save the family from Aunt Jordan, because I think that would really show us some pent-up rage. We saw her resolving the relationship with Aunt Jordan. There was like a birthday party or something, I think, and we saw her go through the process of resolving that relationship. But if she was willing to actually use the pent-up rage to take Jordan down, I think that could be a fun thing to watch her character do. Sharon W. says, very tender scenes today between the four Newmans. Victor and Cole not only had a heart-to-heart talk, but actually more of a bonding experience. These sentiments that each of them expressed seemed to be heartfelt. Claire is thankful to have a real family after all these years. Victor and Nikki are thankful to have each other after all they've been through the past year. And Cole is thankful to have his daughter back in his life and to have a renewed bond with Victoria and Nikki. The books that Cole bought the Newmans were very thoughtful and inspiring, and the beautiful horse given to Claire by her grandparents will bring her much joy in the future. Oh, that's a really nice comment, Sharon W., and I'm glad you mentioned the books. It was really nice that Cole gave Nikki a first edition poetry book, and then I think Eric Braeden is also a big fan of Muhammad Ali, and so that the signed copy of his book is meaningful both to the character of Victor, but also to the actor who plays him. Oh, Connie says, "Run, Forrest, run!" Came to mind when Victor offered Cole a job. Has the Newman Publishing Division ever been mentioned before? I certainly haven't heard of it. I mean, Newman Media, so I guess is maybe like online stuff and then is publishing more print material. I'm excited to hear more about that. But I agree with you that like anybody taking a job at the Newman family business has to beware. There is only one ruler of that business, and it will always be Victor. Kamna says this might be cynical or paranoid of me, but after all the love for and with Cole on Monday, I wonder if he is going to sacrifice his life to save the Newmans from Aunt Jordan. I guess now that I'm mostly convinced that Alan is not Martin, I need something new to worry about. Yeah, we definitely did get a lot of Christmas peace. We are getting a lot of happiness, a lot of contentment, a lot of silent night. And you just know that that's going to blow up sooner or later. Oh, T. Nicole says, poor Christian. I do hope that Nick chooses to spend some of his Christmas Eve with his son. Yeah, no mention of Christian ever. He is the lost child. Oh, speaking of lost children, we have our Kyle Abbott. Victoria says, Susan Walters was amazing in her portrayal of Diane, giving Kyle his gifts. She went from happy to see his reaction to the nameplate to a gut-wrenching performance of lost opportunities. It had me grabbing my tissues. I believed that these characters were real. Adding to the reality was the different types of journal pages and her emotional confessions to Kyle. Now, will Kyle's heart melt or keep its hard exterior? Gary says, Kyle and Diane were the heart of Y&R's Christmas 2024. Very touching. Bratty entitled Kyle can pull on the heartstrings to match Diane when he wants to. Yeah, when he wants to. No doubt Kyle's got, I mean, the actor's great. There's depth in there for sure that can be brought out. Maybe we're at the beginning of that. I I really liked Victoria noting that there were different types of journal pages. That was a nice touch. They didn't all look like they were from the same book. In fact, even one of the pages was a half sheet, kind of torn out. So she went through her journals and maybe didn't give him everything, but tore out the part that was about him or for him. It was very heartfelt, yes. Those were very nice scenes for the holidays. I am grumpy that I did not get to see the classic Y&R episode that aired on, Christmas Eve. I think or was it Christmas Day? It might have been Christmas Eve. No, it was Christmas Day. I can't remember. But I should probably just go to YouTube and watch it. But Diana did a really nice recap for us, so I'm going to read that for now. Diana says, the classic episode that aired was one of the best I have seen. I wish you could have seen it, Allie. It was such a pleasure seeing the old, large sets. We saw Danny's cool apartment and the ranch decorated at Christmas time. We saw the Chancellor Mansion as Gina goes there to tell Brock that she's worried about her brother as he had lost his singing voice. Brock goes to visit Danny at his place and gives him a great speech on faith. Brock was a very charismatic character with a great speaking voice, as it was very deep. Nikki looked very pretty in her red Christmas dress, and Victor's brother Matt was also in the episode, kissing Nikki on her cheek under the mistletoe while Victor was out gallivanting with Ashley. I can't believe Victor was a cheater. I didn't remember Victor ever cheating on Nikki. I always thought that when they were not together, Victor was with Ashley. We see Victor telling Ashley he loves her and exchanging gifts. I don't remember the beautiful cottage set we see Ashley staying at. It was nice to see, while at the same time, it was very yucky seeing Victor with Ashley when he had a beautiful wife and an adorable little girl at home. We saw Victoria when she was about 3 years old, and Miguel carries her out to the family room. I always thought the little actress was so cute. She's a little blonde girl, and yet somehow Victoria ended up being a brunette. The kids actually got to speak then, and Victoria tells her Uncle Matt to pick her up. Victor comes home, and Nikki asks how his appointment went. Victor replies, fine. Very gross. I enjoyed seeing Lauren at Sean Garrett's apartment as she was being held hostage by him when she was married to Paul. This was such a great storyline. Sean was Lauren's music manager and became obsessed with Lauren. He buries her alive and Paul rescues Lauren. We also had the pleasure of seeing Paul at Andy's apartment with Farron. We see Farron wearing an apron as she has made a Christmas turkey for dinner. Today, we never see characters doing any cooking as they're always at restaurants or cafes. We also saw the original Amy at Paul's detective agency along with Nate's father and 2 other characters. But one of the best scenes of the episode was when Lauren tells her captor, Sean, that she would like to go to church by herself as Lauren had already written a note to Paul telling him to meet her there. The church scene was beautiful, and we saw the entire church with the pews filled along with a pastor and a full choir of children singing Christmas carols. Paul goes to the church with his mother and sees Lauren there with Sean's arm around her. Sean had shown up to the church and surprised Lauren by showing her the note she had written to Paul. Lauren's plan did not work. The last scene was very emotional as we see the characters singing Silent Night and Danny's just listening. He slowly begins to sing and realizes that he's been given back the gift of his voice. He and Gina embrace. The episode ends with the children in the choir singing Hark the Herald Angels sing. It was a great Christmas episode to watch that I wanted to share here for those who didn't get the pleasure. Hope the chatters don't mind. Oh, Diana, 1 million thank yous for that. That's so sweet. I really appreciate that you took the time to write that out. Not only because I didn't get a chance to see the episode, but I bet there was a lot of people who watched the episode but didn't really understand what was going on at play there, maybe didn't know the situation between Lauren and Sean. You know, like when you see one episode, you're just getting one little snapshot into what was going on in those storylines. So I really appreciate that you're filling out what was going on. Danny had lost his voice. That probably makes a lot more things make sense. So really, really, really thank you, Diana. That's great. I'm honestly going to have to try to look that up. It makes me mad. It's another classic episode I wasn't able to see. I really wish Y&R's New Year's resolution would be to add those classic episodes to CBS.com and Paramount Plus for those of us who don't use the TV anymore. Is this really the last time that we are going to be chatting in 2024? That is crazy. New Year's week is next week. Wow! How is it going to be 2025? How? I just don't know. But I have gotten, one thing I have gotten better at as the years have gone on is knowing when a holiday comes up and looking up and figuring out if there's going to be a Y&R on that day. There's the holiday plans, but they have to also be fit around my Y&R schedule. So if that's the case for you too, I want to give you the schedule for next week so you can plan your holidays around your Y&R viewing schedule. So Monday the 30th will be a new episode. Tomorrow is an all new episode. Tuesday and Wednesday, the 31st and 1st, New Year's Eve and New Year's are going to be classic episodes. So Tuesday is just going to be a rerun of the new old ranch reveal, the one from like a month or so back. But then Wednesday is going to be from 2006, where Sharon confronts Phyllis about her affair with Nick. That's going to be a good one. And then we're back to Thursday and Friday, all new eps. So new episodes only on Monday, Thursday, and Friday. Classic episodes on Tuesday and Wednesday. And maybe I should go to YouTube. I wonder if YouTube has the 1985 Christmas Day episode that you guys saw this week. Or maybe I could find it there. And maybe, Sharon confronting Phyllis about the affair? Ooh, I gotta see that. So maybe YouTube is the answer to that, especially since we'll have a little bit of downtime. I gotta watch them eps somehow. I don't have nothing else going on. Tuesday and Wednesday, I gotta fill my time somehow. Well, you know what? Since next week is a short week, let's make next week Predictions Week. What do you say? Now is the time. Go to yrchat.com and make your 2025 predictions for the show. Now, if you are a new chatter or you just don't know that we do this or you've forgotten about it completely, every year we go in and we say, I think this will happen on Y&R in the upcoming year. And we make our predictions and we put them there in a post. And then the following year, I crack open that little time capsule, and I read them and I figure out what came true, what didn't come true. It's a whole lot of fun. So let's do that this upcoming week since we've got some spare time. yrchat.com, make your predictions for 2025, and then next week I will come back. I will read the new predictions and I will take a look at the old ones and see what came true and what was just fun. What came true and what was just a fun guess. Okay, everybody, that does it for me. I hope that you all have a really good week and most importantly have a Happy New Year. Bye.